on my watch, and so this is the monthly meeting for the Fairfield Glade Community Club Board of Directors will come to order. This morning's meeting is open to all members of the community club and is being recorded for viewing on the community club website. We are also live streaming this morning's meeting for member viewing. To honor America, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to remember those who are serving in uniform. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pat, would you please call the roll of the board members?
Here. Mr. Poole.
Here.
Ms. Galloway. Here. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mrs. Miller. Mrs. Starr.
Here.
Mr. Wedgeworth.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have 6 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Pat. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our previous board meeting. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting held on January 27th, 2022.
Motion to approve the January 27th.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes of the January 27th, 2022 meeting are approved. This morning in the audience, we have a distinguished guest. Mr. Joe Sherrill is here. He is the County Commissioner for the 6th District. And Joe, would you like to share a few comments?
Good morning. I just briefly wanted to mention, I'm sure most of you have heard about the Water Authority that got voted in by the Commission unanimously. It was presented by the mayor, unanimously voted in, supported by all the districts, and I think if they had their new holding pond ready today, we'd be about filling it up, so good deal. Last two little notes is, I know that we have, this is the next multiple months is going to be meet the candidate type of stuff, and we'll have several events down in the 6th District area for anybody that might be interested. We have multiple in March, starting with some of the general sessions judge stuff. So if you want to meet the candidates sort of in a local town hall down in Crab Orchard, we'll have that out, and so please look for that advertisement.
Thank you, Joe. I'd like to share the following comments from across the board this morning. The year in review. As we mentioned last month, the Community Club finished 2021 with very strong financial performance. This morning, the Board of Directors will be taking action to add an additional $2.5 million to our operating reserves, bringing our total reserves to $5.5 million. Community Club reserve accounts are similar to your individual savings accounts, providing the necessary funds for rainy days or unforeseen financial obligations. We have also executed a $5.4 million line of credit to provide the club with additional financial security. The line of credit is similar to the limit on your credit card that is available if and when you may need it. Details on the line of credit will be covered in the Treasurer's report. In addition, the Community Club will pay off the center loan in May and will become debt-free. We are also well positioned to be able to respond to the anticipated volatility in the economy caused by unpredictable interruptions in the global supply chain, inflation-driven price increases, as well as a challenging labor market. Despite the ongoing coronavirus challenges in 2021, we were able to pay off the Stonehenge loan a year early. We completed the renovation of the Heatherhurst Pro Shop and restrooms, and we completed our Phase 2 renovation of the Stonehenge Clubhouse, allowing Stonehenge Grill to reopen as our year-round food and beverage operation. Construction on the Mirror Lake Entertainment Pavilion with the walking paths and dance floor were completed in time for Memorial Day. We reached agreement with the county on the county lot agreement, reached agreement with the 911 district to establish a 911 backup center in our police department building, and our police department became accredited by the State of Tennessee Law Enforcement Accreditation Program making our police department only the 35th law enforcement agency out of over 600 agencies in Tennessee to be dual accredited. Construction on the new Racket Center building was completed earlier in the year, and renovation of the original check-in area was completed by year end. Work on the phase 1 of the expansion of Robin Hood Park began with the renovation of the existing structures, and paving of the new parking lot was also completed. We also began the planning process for the new Druid Hills complex by forming the Druid Hills Project's Advanced Planning Team. These are all important and exciting steps that are focused on the future of Fairfield Glade, and we look forward to another year of significant improvements to our community. From time to time, we hear that our timeshare visitors use our amenities but don't make any or large enough contributions to the community club. The fact is that during 2021, the timeshare visitors contributed over $1.7 million to the community club's operations. The 2021 total contribution consisted of over $409,000 in additional assessments, since timeshare units are assessed at twice the amount that community club members pay for their individual residential assessments. The timeshare units also contributed $39,600 to help pay off the center loan, plus timeshare visitors contributed over $1.3 million in amenity fees while they visited Fairfield Glade. The 2021 timeshare contribution from their additional unit assessments, their contribution towards the center loan, and amenity fees equated to $26.26 for each unit each week. And without the 2021 timeshare contributions, the 2021 monthly community club membership assessment would have needed to increase by $13.14. Later this spring, as we do each year as part of the annual budget process, the board will review and evaluate each of the revenue sources we have available to support the community club activities. This includes revisiting the timeshare assessments and fees. In response to comments from our members looking for a variety of dining options this winter, we are trying a different approach with some new dining options using both the Stonehenge Grill and the Center. Stonehenge Grill is offering Sunday brunch from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., theme nights like the Valentine's Day dinner and the upcoming Mardi Gras night on February 28th have been offered on Monday evenings from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will also be offering a chicken and pasta night at Stonehenge Grill on March 8th. We held a Christmas brunch at the Center on December 19th and a New Year's Eve dinner at Stonehenge Grill. Other special events like the Easter Sunday and Mother's Day will be provided at our Stonehenge Grill by our Stonehenge Grill team at the Center or at Stonehenge Grill. Here are the latest updates on our major capital projects. Construction on moving the Racket Center parking lot utilities underground has started, and we've added parking lot lights, which should be operational by March 4th. Once we have warmer weather, we plan to pave both parking lots with a crossover area at the north end. We are proceeding with the planning for the next phase of Robin Hood Park expansion project with architect and engineering services for the pavilion with restrooms, bocce ball courts, and hard service paths. We look forward to these additional community amenities being completed this year. The Marina dock expansion project includes the addition of 20 slips at the Dartmoor Marina and 8 additional slips at the St. George Marina. We've received an update from the dock installation vendor that we should expect delivery of the docks by mid-March. We continue to work with the architect to review alternative renovations to update the Heatherhurst snack bar area. Once we receive the cost estimates for the alternatives, we'll be able to make a decision on the extent of the renovations. Actual construction will be deferred until the end of the 2022 golf season. The Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team continues to work on the initial planning process to determine what the next Druid Hills Clubhouse facility should provide for our growing community. The team hosted a town hall meeting at the center on January 31st and presented the results of the existing clubhouse assessment. A recommendation to build a new clubhouse instead of renovating the existing clubhouse will be considered by the board this morning. Members who would like to share additional comments regarding the Druid Hills projects can reach out to the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team by sending emails to the planning team at druidhillsprojects@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team is also available on the Community Club website. And that is our February update from across the board. And with that, we'll begin with the Treasurer's Report. Bruce?
Good morning. Everybody awake? I know you're wet, so. We started 2022 and financially strong as a result of the strong performance in 2021. With just a month behind us, we have $4.3 million in total cash in sewer compared to $3.4 million at the end of January of last year. So that's a positive variation of over $900,000. For the Property Owners Association, we have $1.8 million of capital cash, $7 million of operating cash for a total of $8.9 million. POA cash compared to 7.7 at the end of January of last year, which is a positive variation of $1.3 million. Our cash flow, sewer started 2022 in a positive position with a positive variation to budget of right at $16,000, driven by more new home starts than expected, resulting in higher tap fee income. POA is also starting 2022 in a positive fashion with a positive budget variation of a little over $2,000. Assessment and GA expenses were positive $9,000. The fire department was positive a couple $100. The police department was negative $8,400. The marketing and events was negative $48, and public works was positive $1,000. Again, after 1 month, it's hard to kind of tell where we're going, but we started the year well. Amenities also had a positive variation of $120,000. F&B was positive by $14,000, while the revenues were less than budget due to the weather closings. Wages were also less than budget as well, so it countered that. Golf, believe it or not, golf was positive $95,000, even though we were 894 rounds less than budget. Expenditures for materials and supplies were also less than budget, making up for the reduced revenues. Racket Sports was positive a little over 1,000. Marina was positive about 1,400, and the Center and Recreation was positive 8,400. So together, POA and amenities combined has a positive variation of $122,000, which again is a good start after 1 month for the year. I want to cover some other subjects this morning. Ken mentioned the line of credit. There's a typo on that. It says February 22nd. Ken and I actually executed that line of credit on February 2nd. It's in the amount of $5.4 million with an interest rate of 3.25% and is effective February 1st, 2022 with a maturity date of February 1st, 2025. The 3.5% is a fixed rate for the first 12 months and will be adjusted each subsequent 12-month period based on the Wall Street Journal prime rate. The Dorchester and Druid Hills golf clubs, along with the multi-purpose building, were designated as collateral for the line of credit. The continuing story there is that right now we have several facilities tied up in collateral, but once we pay this building off in May, the only buildings that could possibly be tied up in collateral is Druid, Dorchester, and multi-purpose, and that's only if we draw on that line of credit. So we've really freed up all of our assets. This line of credit, as Ken said, it's similar to the line of credit you have on your credit card. You don't necessarily use it, but it's there if something happens that you're not unforeseen, and that's how we intend to use it. We've actually had a line of credit since 2017 and never drew on it, and we did away with that line of credit and established this line of credit. The proposed budget increases every year. We have a previous year budget. We have projects that are purchases that weren't completed. This requires an adjustment to the current year budget so we can complete the needed projects and purchases. This year is no different. The board discussed this proposed 2022 budget increase recommendations yesterday in the workshop, and we'll be voting on them this morning. I've attached a copy of the proposed increases for your reference to this handout, and I will go through those when we get to that on the agenda. POA operating reserve increase, as we discussed last month, we finished 2021 in a strong cash position. We ended with $6.3 million of operating cash. If you take out the current $3 million reserve we have and the $13,000 marine reserve we have, leaves a balance of $3.3 million of operating cash from 2021. The board discussed what action to be taken concerning this balance yesterday at the workshop. The consensus was to place another $2.5 million into the POA operating reserves, bringing the total operating reserves to $5.5 million. The balance of that cash of $800,000 is going to be used to get us through the low revenue months of January and February. And I'll review that again in more detail when we get to that agenda item, but we'll vote on that this morning as well. So any questions on all that? Nico? When are the Marina slip fees due?
Yeah, what month will they show up?
John?
You should have received your bill already.
No, well.
Do you have a slip
I
at
was looking
Dartmoor?
the balance sheet here. I didn't see anything on the balance sheet that we're doing.
Well, no, they wouldn't because they're due starting March. The notices
The show-
go out with the slip on.
And this year, we are making the adjustment of it's a prorated amount this year because next year we will do it on a calendar year. So you will be paying January through December next year.
What are they paying now?
They pay April through the end of the year? March
back
1?
End of February. This is the current one.
So we're going to adjust that to a
Go to a
calendar year
calendar.
next year. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Bob, the general manager's report?
Okay, thank you. This time of year, our focus is really on planning for the upcoming season and then also taking care of a lot of the interior repair and maintenance that are needed, obviously because of the weather that we have this time of year. We have started the other 3 directional signs on Peavine Road. Have a stonemason out there. He has poured the footers. He started on the cinder block stone columns, but again, that's weather dependent. So didn't see him out there yesterday, and I doubt he'll be out there today as well. So that'll take a little bit longer than normal. For golf rounds through last month, there are about 1,100. That was 900 fewer than budget, but that's primarily due to poor weather. January was a very cold month, a lot of snow, and so that was really what caused the decline in the golf rounds for that month. Started off February pretty good, but of course this week we've had a lot of rain, so that put a damper on things, pun intended. For the year though, average rounds per course per day open were 61, and that compares to 61 in 2021. So again, when we're open, people are out playing, so that's good to see. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Bob. The resort report, Barb?
Morning. Wyndham timeshare visitors month to date is 1,500. Year to date, 3,100. Right now, we're at 19% occupancy, and by next month, at this time, we should be increasing our numbers with the golfers returning. As far as timeshare like revenues, the center is 800, which is 4% of like revenue. Rapid is 1,650, which is 6%. Dartmoor and St. George is 0% because they're both closed. Golf is 180, which is 0%. Food is 3,086, which is 8%. For a year to date, 5,796, which is an average of 4% like revenue. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. The architectural control report, Sam?
Thank you. The architectural control report is as follows. Miscellaneous approvals through January 2022 was 74 compared to 61 last year. New homes approved through January were 9 compared to 6 last year, and new homes completed were 16 compared to 9 of last year.
Okay,
Is there any question?
thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have some unfinished business. this morning. The first item under the unfinished business is the revision of the sewer policy. And the proposed revisions to the sewer policy have been posted on the website, and we did a communication on that. And Bruce, did you want to tell us the results of that?
Yeah, just keep in mind the major reason we need this policy change was to remove the caps on the 3 sewer funds, which will enable us to continue to accrue dollars towards our 10-year strategic plan for sewer projects, so that we can either eliminate borrowing money or at least minimize the amount of money we need to borrow to get those projects done. So like Ken said, we posted it for 30 days. I actually had 11 members respond. I had 4 questions just simply based on the rates. There was confusion about the actual sewer rate. The sewer rate of $30 has been in effect since 2017, but people are still a bit confused by the announcement. 2 questions on how the rates are determined, and my response to them was that we look at that every year during the budget process, and if we were to determine that we ought to raise one of those sewer fund rates, we would explain that rationale when we present the budget to the members. 1 comment was to keep the caps and lower the rates. 2 comments on we should increase the builder fees and commercial fees, and 1 suggestion to use a flat rate for the first so many thousand gallons, and then so much for each 1,000 gallon thereafter. And I'm assuming that individual meant based on water, which is kind of what I'm used to in towns that I've lived in before. But that's not how we do it here. It's a flat sewer rate. It's not based on water consumption. And then we had 1 late request asking for extended information, and I've asked that individual to submit a form detailing that information, and we'll supply what information we can. So with that, I will make a motion to approve the sewer policy.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The revision to the sewer policy has been approved. Pat? The next item under unfinished business is the increase of the 2022 budget for the capital and expense items carried over from 2021. Bruce?
Okay. If you refer to the sheet that has the yellow and green highlighted columns in it, that's what I'm going to refer to. For our POA operating, we have 2 items that we need to increase the budget and carry money over for. 1 is lake desilting. The other was road paving. We didn't get a lot of road paving done last year. We got no road paving done in 2020, if you recall. And so we have carried that money over. So we actually will have about $1.25 million to get road paving done. So hopefully we can bring them in here and have them pave a lot of our roads for us. Under capital, last year for the fire station, we had $75,000 to do a revision addition up at Station 2 up by Dartmoor. The decision has been made not to do that, but we do need to improve the turnaround area so that the firemen have an easier way to bring the fire truck in and put it back into the garage. So we're going to carry over $20,000 and redo the driveway up there. Improved sense of arrival, we're going to carry money over to continue the signage. IT equipment, we want to put a Wi-Fi network down at the Grove. And the reason for doing that is so that we can have a point of sale at the Grove, so individuals don't need to necessarily have cash. We can actually take credit cards. So we're going to add $35,000 to the IT budget to put the Wi-Fi equipment there. F-150 truck, I think Sam, we have that truck, right? Yeah, so we had that in the budget, but we didn't get the truck till now, so we've got to carry that money over. Fire hydrants the same way. The fire hydrants we purchased in 2021 didn't come in till January, and so you got to carry that money over and increase this budget so we can pay for those. The trails did not complete some of their projects, so we're carrying some money over for that. The snack bar renovations, we had that budgeted for the fall of 21 and the spring of this year, and obviously we have postponed that while we rework the project. So we had to readjust the budget so that we can do this project in 22 and 23. Golf course equipment, again, that was items that are on order but not delivered in 2021, so we're going to carry that over. Racket Center improvements is carrying over the money to finish up some landscaping and indoor court entry work. The LED lights at the mini golf we didn't get in, and we want to do that, so we're going to carry that money over and increase the budget. And then we've talked in here about the Heatherhurst golf cart issue where we couldn't get 2022 carts until late in the year, and so our decision was to go ahead and also purchase the 23 carts at the same time. So we had to increase the budget in order to pay for that, and that we just won't have cart dollars in 23, so we'll bring that money back in at that time. And then the one sewer item was renovate the storage building. We didn't get that done for $35,000, so we're bringing that over into 2022 so Bruce can renovate the storage building. So we've had discussion in here yesterday about that from the board. Is there any questions about the adjustments to the budget? If not, I'll make them. Yes, Nico.
When you publish this, could you put page numbers on it so that when you start talking, you can get the page strip?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the budget increases carryovers for 21 to 2022.
Okay, do we have a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The increase to the 2022 budget for the 2021 carryovers is approved. The next item, the recommendation from the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team. Greg?
Okay. Well, it's been a long time coming, but we're ready to start making recommendations. The thing that I would like to say before we get to those recommendations is not in your package, but in the package that the board received yesterday, and if you were here, you got that package. We did put a timeline of the meetings and the conversations that we had around this topic since really the first town hall meeting, which was back in October, I mean. And we've started from that point because that's really when we focused in on the assessment, which was the first question that the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team wanted to have answered, which was, can we remodel or do we need to rebuild? And that was why we did the assessment, and the timeline associated with that is in the package. So I refer you to that if you'd like to see it. The second thing I'd like to do is thank all of the residents and people that commented to the Druid Hills Project's email. We do want to hear what you have to say. We really appreciate the fact that you took the time out of your day to give us your comments. I know there's always a feeling that sometimes you're not heard, but I can honestly tell you that every one of them were read, and every one of them was responded to, and we really take seriously that the fact that the community wants to tell us what they think, because this is a community project. It's not just the advanced planning team or anyone else's. So we encourage you to continue on with that process. The next thing that we're going to be doing, assuming that these recommendations are voted on today and approved, is that we will be forming, we're in the process now of starting to form the food and beverage team. We're going to use the current already standing golf team to look at the golf aspects, but we're going out to the community and reaching out and asking people if you'd like to participate. If you have an interest, please, I encourage you to either get on the website or contact the admin building. There was a Magnify about this. Get your application in. You've got to have them in before March 4th, and we encourage you to take a look at that, and if you've got interest, please apply. If you don't have an interest, it's not going to be the only opportunity. We're going to follow the same process pretty much that we did with the assessment, and that will include meetings with the community. One of the first things that we're asking the community or the committees to do is actually put together a communication plan on how they will interact with the community to validate the requirements that we believe need to have going forward for the Druid Hills Clubhouse. And those meetings and those conversations are going to be an integral part of anything before the board takes a vote. So the next town hall, I know those of you that have attended probably are tired of listening to me answer questions, and you know what? I am tired of giving answers to questions. So what we're going to do next time, by the next town hall, really the committees will be reporting out. So there will be a lot of work that needs to be done between here and there. And I caution people because one of the comments that we're starting to hear is, well, this is taking too long. It's going to take time because we want the involvement. We're not going to just get up and dictate what the Druid Hills Clubhouse is going to look like. And I'm sorry, but involvement takes time. And that's the last apology I'll ever make on that. So with that as a background, and also I would like to also thank the Druid Hills planning team for sitting through all of this. There's been a number of meetings. There'll be a number more. We're meeting again Friday to talk about the process of selecting the committee members and how we're going to communicate with the community. And there's going to be a lot more of that. So I thank those people who Bruce, Bob, Dave, Mike Johnson, my good friend back there, Jeff, for all participating. And we're going to be getting more participation. And two other people that are coming into the process now, as we're getting more detailed, I would say, is Raj Jones, who's the pro over at Druid Hills. And also we're getting Jamin Lyons, who's our food and beverage director and directly involved with that piece of it. So we're bringing in some of the pros. Us amateurs are going to take a little step back, and we're going to get the pros involved. But face it, it's going to take some time to get through this. We hope we'll have a report out in the May-June timeframe for the board to hear what the recommendations are on the requirements, and the community, of course, will hear those in concert with the board before the vote's taken. So with that as a backdrop, here are the recommendations that have come from the advanced planning team. Stop consideration of the renovation of the current Druid Hills Clubhouse as a viable option. Do not invest in any additional dollars into the current Druid Hills Clubhouse other than break-fix required work. And break-fix, for those of you that may be unfamiliar terms, means if something breaks over there, a pipe breaks or something like that, we'll fix it, but we're not going to go in and do painting or improvements or anything like that. Define the detailed requirements for the new Druid Hills Clubhouse and only consider new construction going forward. Are there any questions about any of that before I make that recommendation? Okay. Having heard no questions, I recommend that the board vote on these 4 recommendations from the advanced planning team, Druid Hills planning team.
Okay, is there a second to accept the recommendations from the advanced planning team?
I second it.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The recommendations from the Druid Hills Advanced Planning Team are approved. The next item is the $2.5 million increase in the POA operating reserves. Bruce?
Yeah, as we talked yesterday with the board and then in the workshop and then my review this morning, we ended up 21 with a little over $3.3 million of operating cash, and I am making a motion to increase our reserves by an additional $2.5 million, bringing the operating reserves to $5.5 million.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the addition of the $2.5 million to the operating reserve is passed. The next item are our purchase requisitions, and the first one is the Haas Circle Dalefield Loop sewer extension. Bruce?
Good morning. I have a PR for a sewer extension running the entire length of Haas Circle and the majority of Dalefield Loop. The work will be performed with in-house labor, in-house equipment, and the material that we already have in inventory. The original budget amount was $200,370, and this particular PR, the estimated cost to install that sewer is $57,600.
Okay, does anyone on the board have any questions for Bruce?
I want to make a couple comments based on some policies that we did or put in last year. Some of you might remember that starting last year, we started communicating with the people that owned the lots prior to the vote after the votes were taken by the board to give them a status of where they were. In that regard, week before last, 92 letters went out to the property owners that will be impacted by the putting in of the sewer because their fees are going to go up and they're going to have to pay a fee to hook up. I wanted to let you know that from those 92 letters that went out, we had 6 calls. 4 were just really questions about when will it be done, and we're glad to have it finally. 2 really were really more just general questions about what's the process now, and there was 1 person that did come back and said say that basically they were probably going to sell their lot because they didn't want to get the assessments. That, just so you understand, there's 95 lots there, 92 letters went out because there are a couple merged lots, and we don't send them once they're merged, we just send the lot owner who has the merged lot one letter, okay?
Okay, so may I have a motion to go ahead and approve the $57,600 for the sewer extension?
I move that we approve the extension.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The sewer extension for $57,600 is approved.
Thank you. I also have a second PR for the purchase of a new Ventrac tractor and rough cut mower. We use the Ventrac tractor with the rough cut on it to maintain the spray and drip fields, 115 acres of spray and drip. And every 3 or 4 years, we rotate them through. We have 2 tractors, and so the third tractor, the oldest tractor, will be either auctioned off or available for the other departments. In the past, we've provided a tractor to Heatherhurst. The steeper holes on Heatherhurst, number 4 of the Bray, number 5 of the Craig, number 10 of the Craig, Mark uses to mow. The Ventracs are very stable tractors designed to mow steep areas, and so they do a very good job maintaining the drip and spray. And so this PR is for $38,646.88. The original budget for this particular tractor was $45,000, so it's under budget.
All right, any questions from the board members? If not, may I have a motion to approve the PR for $38,647?
Motion to approve the PR for the Ventrac of 38,647.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks, Barb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion to approve the PR for the Ventrac tractor for wastewater in the amount of $38,647 is approved.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We do have a PR for an F-250 pickup truck with a utility bed, and Bruce, you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, Bruce brought that PR to the workshop yesterday and presented it, and during the discussion informed us that the truck he had, from the quotes he had, got sold. And so it kind of exemplifies the issue we're having with trying to get vehicles. And so we had 4 quotes for that truck, one for $56,000, which is the one we were going to use, and got sold. Another one was $58,000, another was $60,000, another was $69,000. Vehicles are not only hard to get, the cost of them are going up almost daily. And so we had a discussion with Bruce yesterday, and what I'm going to propose to the board to do today is authorize $60,000 so that when a truck becomes available to Bruce, he can go ahead and get it versus having to find a truck and then come back here. By the time he comes back here and asks us for the authorization, the truck will be gone. And so my proposal to the board, my recommendation to the board is to approve $60,000 for Bruce to buy his truck when it becomes available.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion to pre-approve a $60,000 purchase for an F-250 pickup truck with utility bed for the grinder pump crew is approved. We have 2 PRs for architectural drawings, one for the fire station and one for the St. George Marina building. John?
Make a motion that we approve the architectural drawings for the Fire Station 1. This is to renovate the EMS part of the building. And that amount is $4,500.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the PR for the $4,500 to do the architectural drawings for the fire station number 1 EMS area is approved. Architectural drawings for the St. George Marina building.
Architectural drawings for the St. George Marina building. We discovered that we don't have any drawings of that building. It's 50 years old, and we couldn't find any of the original plans. So we have to have an architectural drawing. We'll start that project, the overall project, in October when the marinas are closed. And the amount for the PR is $3,640.
Okay, any discussion on that? Can I have a second to that motion?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The PR in the amount of $3,640 is approved for the architectural drawings for the St. George Marina building. An update from Fairfield Glade Resident Services, Pat Gruet.
Wake up, Pat.
Welcome to the tropics. God, this is awful. By the way, did everybody in this room see the Super Bowl? I'm sure you did. And for the first time in history, whether you know it or not, the halftime performers had more felonies than the players on the field. I got to tell you, that was awful. I'm sorry. It was awful. Anyway, what's new with FGRS in 2022? Well, we've installed a new board with 7 hardworking governing members. And we have an advisory board consisting some of the has-beens, one of them being me, and a few of the others. They're going to function as a liaison with the board of directors, with our town government, and various other programs in and outside of the community. Big change came about just recently. We've decided to do some name change. FGRS was formerly Neighbors Helping Neighbors, and we coined that phrase literally about 7 or 8 years ago. Now, seems like every organization in America is using it. So we've changed it to FGRS, the Caring Connections People, because that's what we really are about, quite frankly, and that is taking care of our residents here in Fairfield Glade. We have a new volunteer coordinator, and his job primarily is to get out there and find new volunteers for us, because we had some serious losses of people during the COVID years. And there are some changes that have come around. We've decided to put a paid employee part-time to sit at our front desk and meet and greet everybody between the hours of 9 and 12, 5 days a week. And hopefully this program will work out. Unfortunately, some of our valuable OCs were removed. I'm sorry to see it happen, but changes come and things have to change, so we're going to attempt to see how it works out. The home safety team is up and running pretty good now. They're doing quite a job, primarily with safety equipment outside the home, such as handrails, ramps, etc. They will be moving back inside, doing inside work, and quite frankly, that program is taking off, so it's going to be very, very busy. The Caring Connections program, what we've done there is we've taken all of our other programs tied in with it, senior enrichment, reach out programs, music for life, and what we've done is we've tried to put it under one governing body. And I think the program here, what's really important here is there are critical issues in the Glade, but some of the most important ones are taking care of some of our elderly people living here in the Glade. And as you know, for 7 or 8 years, I've gotten up here and mouthed off about people falling down. Well, you're looking at a man that took a face plant about a month ago. Unfortunately, my nose got in the way, and it was a smooth landing. But it's a real problem here in Fairfield Glade. And as we age, it's becoming more and more critical. Our police department can tell you and back me up on this. It's a major, major problem. So please, please be careful. What we're going to do now is just give you a couple of quick facts where we are. In 2021, even though we were down and out for the count with COVID, our Way to Go drivers drove 1.25 times around the world, 31,000 miles, to provide rides for more than 200 clients, expending more than 2,000 of their volunteer hours. This is a phenomenal achievement in a bad year. We have 50 drivers, and we're always looking for more, because the program is just getting bigger and bigger because people just don't want to drive. And quite frankly, with the cost of gas, I can't blame them. The Welcome Home team spent 5,300 hours making 322 home visits and putting together kits. And the way that program works, when new residents move in, they're given a kit with all sorts of goodies and some information about, not only about Fairfield Glade, but the surrounding county. And then 90 days later, they have a follow-up to make sure everything's working out well for them. We are going to be looking for an individual to help us assemble and continue our Vital Life program. A gentleman by the name of Quentin Erdahl finally retired because I think his hands are frozen in permanent positions like this from putting kits together. He's done it for about 10 years, and we're looking for some people to help us out stuff these little kits. It's boring, but it's very essential. And I can't emphasize it enough. If you don't have a Vital Life kit, get down to our office and pick one up and fill it out, because it's no good unless it's filled out. It's really valuable. Our new website will be up and running March 1st, thank God. And I'll tell you, when we have it going, you should get on, log on, and take a look at what's going on. And what it should do, and we're hoping, is that maybe it'll inspire some of our residents to pop through that door and volunteer. Other than that, I think that's about it. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but FGRS really appreciates the support of our residents, and without them, we wouldn't exist. So, thanks again.
Thank you, Pat. There you go. You got some applause. All right. At this time, we'll recognize any Fairfield Glade residents that would like to share some comments. You'll need to move to the podium and state your name and address, and then limit your comments, please, to 3 minutes.
I'm Ratcliffe, 157 Devonshire Drive. A couple of points. I'd like to thank the board for putting out the strategic food and beverage plan, something that we have out there. I would ask, and with the same enthusiasm that Greg has in terms of how he's leading his group with getting resident feedback on that plan and championing it, I'd ask the board to do the same thing. Get the resident feedback and get the buy-in so that we're all in the same direction with what our strategic plan is for food and beverage. I'd also ask on that the board define the use several terms in there: sports bar, casual dining, fast casual, things like that. It'd be nice to have the board definition, what you're thinking that looks like from your vision, so that, again, see if those definitions align with the residents. So I'd ask you to consider that. I couldn't ask the question because I wasn't acknowledged about the operating reserve. But, you know, we had a dues increase of $4 for 2001. So how much of that money going into the operating reserve actually was due to that dues increase? So in other words, what did it equate to? That'd be an interesting part to know. The second part is there are choices with that money, I think, and it'd be nice to know we could put it in the reserve, we could do this with it, we could roll back dues, maybe. We didn't hear any of that discussion. That would have been nice to hear. And finally, yesterday I presented to the board Druid Hills developer property resolution. And essentially, it asked the board to do due diligence as it relates to the Druid Hills driving range and maintenance facility that we are presently negotiating with the developer to take control. When I say due diligence, what I'm talking about is, how did this even happen to begin with? And I asked them to look at the points that I outlined and then come back and address them today and vote on them. I suspect they're going to come up next, maybe, I don't know, where then we can't comment on them because we'll have to wait till the next meeting and how it's set up. But that was out there, and I'm hoping that we'll hear something. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Are there any other members that want to make any comments?
For the minutes?
Okay, seeing no further comments from the floor, we'll now do some comments from the board members. And the first comment that we'd like to make is the response to Tom's list that he provided to us. So we thank him for taking the time to share his opinions and comments and questions with us this week and again yesterday morning. The board has considered the comments that he made this week, and it is the consensus of the board that it is in the long-term best interests of the community club to make every effort to foster a positive, constructive, and cooperative relationship with Fairfield Glade Holdings Commercial, which is Mr. Tom Anderson. The Board of Directors sees little value in pursuing an adversarial, antagonistic relationship with Mr. Anderson and believes that any attempt by the community club to force Mr. Anderson into deeding the rights of the Druid Hills driving range and maintenance building to the community club will result in an expensive and uncertain legal process that would not be in the long-term best interests of the community club. The board has chosen instead to pursue a strategy of good faith negotiations with Mr. Anderson in order to reach an agreement that will benefit both parties. The board has decided that none of the comments would cause us to change our current approach, nor do we feel it necessary to revisit any of the actions that we have taken. It is important to note that while you may have an opinion that differs from the board regarding our approach, that difference of opinion does not imply that the board is any less transparent nor engaged in any nefarious activity. It merely means that there is a difference of opinion. And so we thank Mr. Ratcliffe for his comments in his document. Any other comments from members of the board? Hearing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion to adjourn is passed and we stand adjourned.